So, as most of you might be aware by now, in my last video I announced that I basically lost all my programs on my computer, so I'm no longer able to do edited content. So while I wait for a new computer, I'm gonna have to be doing more unfiltered stuff. So yeah. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about an insecurity of mine that I've only recently overcome, and for a long time, this has really damaged my relationships, and to be honest, I'll blame the Red Pill for this, because I remember one of my last relationships, I became very closed off, very emotionally distant, and it was all because I was led to believe by all this Red Pill shit that a man cannot show any emotion whatsoever, because if he does, he'll be seen as weak. If he talks about his feelings for her, oh, that's a weakness. You can't do that. Because if you're talking about your feelings towards her, or if you were even showing any interest in her, oh no, that's free validation. Or you show your feelings to her, that's ammunition for her to use against you in the future. You show your feelings, you immediately lower your value as a man. And, you know, for the longest time, it totally wrecked that relationship. And I'm not even, I'll be honest with you, it was a good relationship, it really was. But what led to its downfall was the fact that I was unable to open myself up. I was unable to communicate, I was unable to talk about my feelings, because I was afraid of looking like a weak man. And ultimately, that is what destroyed the relationship in the end. Now, obviously there were other factors, but I think that was the biggest thing that made it end. And I've recently learned that you need an emotional connection in a relationship. You absolutely need it. It is crucial, because if you do not feel close to the person that you're in a relationship with, it can't work. You can't feel like a proper partnership. You can't feel like, you just cannot feel close, and that is what you need. Because to develop a deep bond, a deep connection with somebody, you have to be close to them. It's not just about sleeping with them, it's not just about spending time with them. You actually have to connect on an emotional on an emotional level. And if you're unable to do that, sooner or later, she's going to leave. It's as simple as that. And I don't want you guys to destroy your relationships because you're unable to open up. And believe me, it is not a weakness. And I've realised this recently. You see, I recently got in touch with that ex that I'm speaking about. And, I told her that, I basically just told her that I missed her. I told her that I still love her. I told her that I never stopped loving her. And to most people watching right now, you probably think that that was the dumbest thing you could ever do as a man. How much weakness have you shown by doing that? And I wrestled with this idea for a long time. But I realised that if you truly want something in life, you have to go for it, and you have to grab it by the balls. And to not do that out of fear of looking weak, that is a weakness in itself, because you're afraid to be direct. As men, we're supposed to be direct. As men, we are supposed to we're supposed to go after the things that we want. And if we don't do that, that's an insecurity in itself, because we're afraid to leave the comfort zone. And anyway, so after I did this, do you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. No, she didn't lose respect for me. She didn't, develop a huge ego. She didn't start treating me like shit. She didn't walk all over me or anything like that. It did the total opposite. For those 2 years that we were together, and I was emotionally distant, and things just, and then when we broke up, things were just difficult. We couldn't, there was just a lot of pain, which I'm not really going to go into. But long story short, it was difficult. We had a lot of difficulty there. And as soon as I was able to open up about my feelings, I could admit them, And by the way, I didn't just like start crying or anything. I didn't get emotional. I literally just said, still love you, still care about you, still miss you, and I want to know if me and you can work on those problems and make another go of things. And as soon as I did that, she opened up as well. Her walls that have been up for nearly 2 years have come down. Totally come down. She was able to admit how she felt about me. And it was almost like those nearly 2 years of, you know, that distancing, 2 years of like hiding how we feel about each other because we couldn't let our guards down. All gone. All wiped away. And I want to tell you that it's not a fucking weakness to talk about your feelings. It's only a weakness if, one, you're insecure in the first place, and two, if you're emotional. It's not emotions that make us weak, it's how we deal with our emotions. Even if you talk about your emotions, even if you show just a little bit, that's not a weakness. It shows that you're fucking human. Nobody wants to be around a fucking robot. Nobody. You need to have emotions to not only have emotional intelligence, but to be... it's all about having character. You can't have character if you've got no fucking feelings. And if you try to suppress your feelings, it's going to do you more damage than good. And, you know, the problem is with most men are too emotional. Because when you talk about your emotions, you don't have any sort of control there. That is the problem. That is the weakness. Being emotional. Having emotions and being emotional are two very different things. And that is something that you should really understand. And if a woman does, for argument's sake, let's say she does start seeing you as weak, she does start disrespecting you, she does use it against you. Have you ever thought that maybe the women that do that are not emotionally mature women? Are not women who've dealt with their traumas, who've not dealt with their insecurities? Because think about it. If a woman's calling you weak for just expressing what's going on the inside, right? Have you ever thought that she's just projecting her own insecurities onto you because she can't let her guard down, because she's insecure as fuck? Have you ever thought about that? But yeah, don't be afraid to communicate how you feel, because it's fucking necessary for a relationship. It does not work if there is no communication there. And don't feel like it's a weakness. See it as a strength, because if you can communicate your problems, you can communicate what you're feeling on the inside, that allows you to then make solutions. So I want you to understand that, guys. It's not a weakness. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. That's all I'm going to say about that. Bye.